people in the city more aggressive. They'll ask for a picture and, ask for different stuff, when you with your kids. And people around here, they may talk to me and say good luck on my fight and things like that, but they don't really just bother me too much. Might have, a few people that may, ask for pictures and things like that, but most of the time people just, real respectful and just, congratulate me or say good luck on your fight and things like that. Win your next fight.
You in the Warrior today, boss?
Yes, sir. If nobody knew who I was and nobody approached me or even noticed me, then, I might be doing something wrong. And I wouldn't probably be on top or got world titles and stuff like that. So, you asked to be on top. This comes with it, even though you don't want this necessarily all the time. But it's part of part of being a champ.
While the boxing world debates whether Errol Spence still has something left in the tank, Spence isn't wasting time arguing with critics. Every day that passes is another day closer to July 27th. And, by all accounts, he's getting stronger, sharper, and more focused with each session.
The connection I have with Dallas and Texas as a whole means a lot. Very few people in boxing right now can bring people to the Cowboy Stadium to come watch them fight. Everybody buying shoes and their best Saturday outfit just to come watch Errol Spence Jr. fight. It's something that I definitely dreamed of, but I never dreamed the magnitude that is happening now.
Errol Spence has proven more than enough already. But to know Spence is to understand that he remains a long way from satisfied. Next up, another blockbuster awaits in Australia.
Everything's at stake. I have to show why I am one of the best fighters in the world. And the only way to get the ball rolling is with a dynamic victory, especially in my hometown.
It's all about building his legs up, keeping his legs strong, especially later in the fight. Strong legs, strong foundation. This all helps.
Had a long layoff with my eye injury. Had a long layoff with the car accident. I want to, show everybody that I'm back and I'm better than before.
Every day you have the day to get better. Most people skate by. You're not a skater though.
Anyone considering whether Spence might even think about taking Tim lightly doesn't know the truth. His remarkable rise resulted from an unremarkable grind, one that continued then, continues now, and will continue for as long as this lasts.
If I didn't train as hard, it's gonna dawn on me during fight night. I'm kind of like a worry freak. It's only your fault when somebody exploits you and bring out that weakness that you already knew you had, but you didn't change the results. So it's better to do it now and not have to worry about your legs getting tired in the fight, because the fight's too late. I'm doing everything, training hard, sparring hard, running hard. I'm ready to fight come April 16th. I'm leaving no stones unturned.
The questions, the doubts, the endless discussions about ring rust and layoffs don't matter once the gym doors close. That's where the real work begins. Before most people are even awake, Spence is already putting miles on the road, building the engine he'll need for the toughest moments of the fight.
Win, humble, win, humble.
So we've been here for 7 weeks now. Me and Omar, we just train with Pedro. We take things quite simple. There's not much going on besides boxing. We live and breathe it. We get a text every evening and every morning about where we're going to be doing our training at what time, and then we just go by those routines.
But standing across the ring is a man with plans of his own. While Errol Spence has been rebuilding himself for a comeback, Tim Tszyu has been quietly sharpening every part of his game, determined to make sure this fight becomes his statement moment.
Yeah, look, I think Pedro, he's professional at what he does. He loves to win. 22 world champions that he's coached. So everything in his life revolves around victory. And it's sort of been come back upon me now. Like everything that we do has to involve getting to the top, getting back to victories, getting back to the belts. That's what our mindset is like. He's a real crazy type guy, but it works in a good way. You know, the synergy's great. I think I just feel comfortable, man. Feel comfortable. It gives me reminders of why I started boxing in the first place, because of the love. And then when you see other professionals out there starting up and stuff like that, and what they have to do to achieve their dreams, it just gives you the same type of drive and same type of feeling that for the reason why you started, you know?
Under the guidance of Jeff Fenech, Tszyu's camp hasn't just been about working harder, it's been about working smarter. The focus has reportedly been on tightening up the defensive holes that have caused problems in recent fights, keeping his right hand higher, improving head movement, and becoming more selective with his offense, without losing the aggression that made him a world-class contender in the first place. Inside the gym, every session has been built around discipline, film study, and correcting mistakes before they become costly on fight night.
I don't know what people have to do to try and make it. I think that simplicity comes from that. So there's no flashiness this camp. There's none of these mad houses and stuff like that. It's simple. We come here to do a job, boxing, and that's how it should have always been, and that's how it is right now. I'm just so focused on what I've got to do. Even the noise about all the future stuff as well. It's not there.
Yet what makes Tszyu dangerous is that he's not trying to become a different fighter. The pressure, the toughness, and the willingness to walk through fire are still there. The difference is that he's aiming to bring those weapons with greater precision and responsibility. More importantly, Tszyu has spoken about rediscovering his passion for the sport, and that's a dangerous combination when paired with confidence and hunger. On July 27th, he won't just be looking to beat Errol Spence. He'll be looking to prove that the next chapter at 154 pounds belongs to him. And that's what makes Tim Tszyu's preparation so fascinating, because while he's rebuilding and refining his game under Jeff Fenech, the conversation on the other side of the ring is suddenly getting louder, with boxing legends lining up to welcome Errol Spence back into the spotlight. What stood out to me listening to Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. wasn't some dramatic prediction or hot take. It was the respect, real fighter respect.
But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Errol don't want no easy fights. Errol don't want to fight guys that are nobody.
He AKA no tune-up.
No,
he don't want no tune-up.
He wants challenges. You understand me? He wants challenges. And for him to challenge a person like Tim Tszyu, when Tim Tszyu has been regularly fighting for the last 3 years, he's been not doing much. That says a lot about Errol, but that tells you exactly how much fight is still left in Errol.
Roy especially sounded like a man who understands exactly what Spence is walking into because he's lived enough of boxing's highs and lows to know that comebacks aren't won on social media. They're won when the doubts start screaming and you keep moving forward anyway. That's why I found it interesting when Roy kept emphasizing that Spence could have taken an easier route but chose Tim Tszyu instead. That tells you something. Whether you're picking Spence or Tszyu, nobody can accuse Errol of searching for shortcuts. 3 years away from the ring and he comes back against a dangerous, active fighter in his own backyard? That's not the behavior of somebody looking for a safe paycheck. That's the behavior of a fighter betting on himself.
Errol is a guy who's always coming to the party to dance. He don't have time to play no games. And you gotta love that about Errol.
He's always been that guy, even in the amateurs, you know, and I've always had respect for Errol Spence because he's a real fighter. You know, he's not a guy that talks a lot, but he brings a big stick to the battle. And you know, when you deal with Errol Spence, you got to bring your lunch pail because he's going to bring it and he's nothing to play with.
At the same time, Roy isn't ignoring reality either. He knows ring rust is real for most fighters because he openly admits he'd want tune-ups himself. That's what makes his praise carry weight. He's not pretending the challenge doesn't exist. He's simply saying Spence knows who he is. And honestly, that might be the biggest mystery heading into July. Not whether Spence can still fight. We know he can fight. The question is whether the version that steps into that Australian ring still has the pressure, timing, confidence, and edge that once made him one of boxing's most feared men. Tszyu is sharpening his weapons. Spence is chasing redemption. Roy sees risk. Ward sees opportunity. And somewhere between all of that, we've got one of the most intriguing comeback stories boxing has produced in years.
But I equally respect him for taking this chance and taking this risk because it's a big risk. But oh boy, if he can pull it off, if he can come back and look anything close like himself, psychologically, mentally, physically, it's going to be a beautiful thing in the sport because when Errol Spence is boxing, boxing is in a better place. So Errol, welcome back, brother. We excited to see you not long from now.
And that's where Greg Hackett's take adds another layer to this whole Spence comeback puzzle. Because while Roy Jones was focused on the respect factor and the risk of jumping straight into deep waters, Greg is looking at it from the trenches, from the fighter's mindset. What caught my attention immediately was that he didn't sound worried about Errol's motivation at all. In fact, he sounded convinced that Spence's mentality is exactly where it needs to be. And honestly, that matters more than people think. Skills pay the bills, sure, but mindset decides whether you even show up to collect the check. Greg keeps pointing to the way Spence has carried himself lately. The attitude, the energy, the refusal to play nice before a fight, and you can tell he sees a fighter who's mentally locked back in. At the same time, I like that he didn't go full fan mode and start pretending this is the same Errol from 5 years ago. He admits there are questions. We all have them.
But I know his mentality is, I got work to do, so y'all. You know what I mean? When Tim Tszyu said, well, you didn't even want to shake my hand, I don't gotta shake your hand. Right? We get ready to fight. That let me know that Errol Spence is in the right state of mind. He understands. He got work to do, pain to put in. You know what I'm saying? I like it. I think Tim Tszyu is looking at it like a lick, like he thinks Errol is right. I don't think so.
Nobody outside that gym truly knows what the reflexes look like, what the timing looks like, or how the body responds under real fire. But then Greg drops what might be the most realistic breakdown yet. Neither guy is just going to walk through the other. That's important because some fans are acting like this fight has only one possible outcome. It doesn't. Tim Tszyu isn't showing up to be part of a comeback documentary. He's showing up believing he can close the chapter for good. Meanwhile, Spence sounds like a man who spent years fighting mental battles and finally decided he wasn't done. That combination is dangerous. Greg's point about intelligence being the deciding factor stuck with me too. Not power, not toughness, not reputation. The smarter fighter on the night probably wins. And if that's true, we might be looking at 12 rounds of high-level problem-solving disguised as a street fight in boxing gloves. That's why this matchup keeps getting harder to predict every time somebody talks about it.
Tim got to come out and be aggressive with a jab and not getting caught up in little arguments where they going back and forth with each other. If they trading, they sitting there trading back and forth, they either one of them got a shot. But whoever's being a little bit smarter than the other, I think has a chance. I think that's how this fight goes. I don't think Errol Spence just going there and just bully Tim Tszyu. But I think it'll be spots where he can play bully.
And just when Greg Hackett was arguing that neither man can simply walk into the ring and impose his will without consequences, Keith Thurman comes flying into the conversation with a perspective that somehow makes the fight feel even more unpredictable. What caught my attention wasn't that Thurman called it a 50-50 fight, it's how he got there. Greg was focused on ring IQ and who can make the smarter adjustments, while Keith is looking at both guys like two former kings trying to convince the boxing world they still belong in the castle. That's a dangerous recipe. Keith keeps circling back to the biggest mystery in the entire matchup. Nobody truly knows what version of Errol Spence is showing up. And honestly, that's the million-dollar question. We can debate training footage, pad work, weight cuts, and gym rumors all day. But until that bell rings, it's all educated guessing dressed up as confidence. At the same time, Keith isn't exactly handing Tim Tszyu a free pass either.
I say Tim Tszyu staying in motion benefits him, but the pedigree and being an Olympic boxer, just different overall things that favor Spence. But it's a solid 50-50 because they both just have some questions that need answers, and we'll get our answer come July, for sure.
He points out something a lot of people conveniently ignore. Tim has his own scars. For all the talk about Spence's layoff, Tszyu has been through some rough nights himself, and those don't magically disappear because you're the active fighter. That's why I keep laughing when fans act like one guy is entering this fight fresh as a new video game character while the other is running on low battery. Reality is messier than that. Then Keith drops what might be the most interesting point of all: pedigree versus activity. Tszyu has momentum. Spence has the resume. Tszyu has recent rounds. Spence has proven he can operate at a level Tim has never consistently reached. And somewhere in the middle of all that sits a fight that feels less like a comeback and more like an elimination round for relevance. One man leaves Australia with momentum, options, and headlines. The other leaves with even bigger questions than before. That's why this matchup has become must-watch television.
You know, as the fight gets a little closer, if I watch Mitt work, I'd like to see some more, you know, if he's with Ronnie and stuff. I respect Ronnie. I knew what Ronnie was doing back when I was in the amateurs. So me and Ronnie Shields, we go way back. So I respect Ronnie, what he brings to the table, how he works with fighters. So I would like to see, you know, some of that Mitt work. I remember watching a lot of Ronnie Shields' Mitt work, see what he's doing with Spence, see if there's anything that really seems different.
So here we are. Errol Spence is chasing redemption after years away from the ring, while Tim Tszyu is trying to prove that the future of the division belongs to him. One side believes Spence's experience, pedigree, and championship mentality will carry him through. The other side believes Tzyu's activity, momentum, and hunger will be too much to overcome. The truth is, nobody knows exactly what version of either man will show up until that first bell rings. That's what makes this fight so fascinating. It's not just about winning and losing anymore. It's about proving who still belongs at the highest level when everything is on the line. Now I want to hear from you. Is Keith Thurman right that this is truly a 50-50 fight? Does Errol Spence still have enough left to make one more championship run? Or is Tim Tszyu about to take over and close the chapter on one of boxing's biggest names? Drop your take in the comments, let's really talk about it. And yo, don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next one.